What's up, everybody? Ron Harris here on my new channel. It's been around since 2006. Ron Harris, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday. Some parts of the world, it's already Monday, so happy Monday to you. Today, I want to talk about a subject that's near and dear to my heart. It was my favorite training day for many, many years, decades or tens of years. Leg training. Love leg training. Reason I love leg training, obviously, because they responded well. I think all of us tend to favor muscle groups that respond much better than other muscle groups. For me, it was always chest that grew really well and legs, especially quads. Hams I had to really work harder for a long time to get them to match my quads. But unlike some people who are genetic freaks, I still do have exceptional genetics for legs compared to the average person, but I did work very long and hard for my legs, and I've consulted with many, many people about their training and talked to thousands of people about their leg training. So I've really been able to learn a lot of useful things, news you can use, things you can apply yourself. And to sort of demonstrate, the only full leg workout of mine that I really have on tape is one that I did. It was almost 4 years ago. It was January of 2020, a couple months before that crazy pandemic hit. It was at the opening of a carbon culture gym, the first carbon culture gym. It was co-owned by Brandon Curry and, what was his name? God, he's going to kill me. The other gentleman, Brandon. It'll come to me. Anyway, there were a few pros there that day. They're not in the video, unfortunately. The video was filmed after everyone had gone home. Myself and Hector Mendoza, our cameraman, we worked all day long. We were there at like 8 in the morning. And I think around 5, pretty much most people were gone, and we were able to shoot my leg training video that I had discussed with Hector. So people you won't see in this video, but they were there that day, were Steve Kuklo. Chris Bumstead was there with Courtney King that day. Crazy, right? But he was. Brandon Curry, of course, it was his gym. The late John Meadows was there. And Andre Ferguson, the men's physique superstar, Olympia champion. They were all there that day. So what I'm going to do is go through this video. Okay. Let's see. How's this work? Share screen. I'm really good at this now, right? Here it is. Let's share the screen. Okay. And if I make it full screen, oh boy. And now I hit play. Okay. So I'm yapping here. I just warmed up. Let's see. Oh, is that the end of the video? Jeez. Oh, no, it's still the beginning. So here I'm explaining the importance of warming up because I didn't warm up enough. And that's one thing I want to emphasize with you guys on leg day. Do not rush right into the workout without warming up with some kind of cardio. Any kind of cardio that gets your legs moving rapidly, be it a stationary bike, a treadmill, elliptical runner, stepper, anything like that. Warm up for a good 5 to 10 minutes. If I was doing it all over again, I would do 10 minutes. And once you're warmed up, you're ready to go. Blood's flowing, joints are warm. I always start off with hamstrings. I didn't in the early years, and then I noticed my quads were overpowering by hamstrings by a huge margin. And I didn't want to do a separate leg day, a separate training day for hams. So I just started doing them first. And it worked out very well. And to this day, I still do that. So I always do 2 hamstring movements, and I encourage you all to do the same. So one is going to be like this. It's going to be either a standing leg curl or a seated leg curl. These are sort of like a concentration curl. I'm getting little partials there at the bottom, so don't consider that a full rep. You can really get the squeeze on these. You can get that peak contraction at the top, get a nice slow negative. You don't get a really good full stretch on either the seated hamstring curl or this kneeling, standing, whatever version you want to call it. Just because of the angles the machines are set at, it sort of makes it impossible or very, very close to impossible to fully stretch out the hamstring. But you get a great contraction, which is a little more difficult on the lying leg curl, which is why I always like to incorporate both. What's up, Max Muscle? So yeah, I'll be taking your questions and comments as we go on through. And then, of course, once it's over, that's all I'll be doing is the video will be over. You almost never see this arm in any of my videos or pictures. You notice that? That's the one that the tricep tore fully in 2011. And then when they opened it up to repair the tear, they saw that the long head, which is, the part that's like right under the back of your armpit, that's where it originates. That had torn years before, and I didn't even know it. I just thought I had a lot of elbow pain. inflammation. Turns out it was torn. And that was, by the time they had opened it up, years later, there was nothing they could do for me. Nothing they could do. Nunca debes vencer. What does that say? It means never give up in Spanish. It's an MD Latino shirt. MD Latino was a magazine and website that was done very well for a few years by Kit Sanderson down in the Miami area. So you can see squeeze at the top. I'm trying to remember the Brent Laffey. That's the name of the guy that owned these gyms with Brandon Curry. Just remembered. So these were in Nashville. There's 2 of those Carbon Cultures. I think they're now called Carbon USA or something. I think Mark Loblander might have bought them. Not sure. Yeah. See where that chair is? There was a group of chairs there, and that's where the pros sat, and everyone sort of just stood in back and did the pro Q&A a few hours before that. So these are Under Armour tights. I had to retire these. They were like my favorite pair of leggings, tights, whatever you call them. Yeah, they were. You'll see the crotch area was getting pretty worn out from my inner thighs rubbing together too much. So leg curls, lying leg curls. Oh, I still have that bottle right here. This is my water bottle with those stickers on it. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be taking drinks from that as we go on. So, like I said, you want to start off with hamstrings. It doesn't matter if you start with lying or seated, but I would do both of them in every leg workout to get the full range of motion trained properly. You need both of them if you want to really get the great contractions and the great stretches. I do believe it's possible to get all of those with the leg curl, the lying leg curl. It's just a little more difficult to squeeze out those contractions at the top. Whereas here, because of the angle, it's much easier. It's kind of like a preacher curl. As you can see, your thigh's braced on something. It's not moving anywhere. And you're just coming up and squeezing. And you never, ever want to drop the weight when doing a leg curl. You always want to control the negative, because if you drop the weight, the force when it's at the bottom, bouncing out of the bottom, is going to be tremendous. And you're at a very high risk of pulling, which would be a slight tear, or fully tearing your hamstring. And I've had a partial hamstring tear before. It was rough. And that was just a very partial one, I think. Nowhere near requiring surgery. If I ever had to go through what I'm going through with my quad now, on the other side of the ham, I'd be very, very upset. So I am explaining. So when constructing your leg workouts, I strongly urge you, unless you're going to do hams on a different day, do them first. And I would do those 2 movements. I would do a lying leg curl always. And then the other one would be either seated or a standing leg curl. They're very similar. How do I get past this commercial? So many commercials. Huh? I get a lot of no bull commercials. Okay, so next I'm going to, it's an adductor. Oh, this is one of those crazy gadgets. This is an Arsenal one. Arsenal strength piece that it can be either an adductor or an abductor, a good girl or a bad girl. So for the first, let's see, first like 15 years of my leg training, I never did those. I never did adductors. Just thought it was a girl exercise. And then Dante Trudell from DC Training, after looking at some stage shots of me from a contest I had just done, told me, good quads, but your inner thighs, your thigh adductors, they really need work to balance everything out. And I looked, he was right. And once I started hitting this exercise, desktop bodybuilding, what's up, Xavier? So it is, what time over there? Oh, it's morning tomorrow, right? It's 8:09 a.m. on Monday. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, I got 2 great content creators right here on my channel. Desktop bodybuilding. If you haven't checked out, I did a video called, I can't recall what it was called, What Really Happened with MD or something. Xavier called it. Check it out on Desktop Bodybuilding. I believe it's the newest video or the second newest video. We had a good discussion, cleared up some rumors, half-truths, untruths in there. Just gave my side of what happened. It's not slanderous. If you're looking for like a tell-all, you're not going to get that. But we had a good convo for sure. So here we go again. It's another one. Try to get that thing out so I get a full stretch. You got to be careful if 8:09 a.m. If you've never done these before, 2 things: go very light and don't try to really get that full range of motion quite yet. If you're just starting out on this leg adductor machine, you will wake up the next day or maybe even that night feeling like you tore your groin. It's going to be extremely painful. So especially if it's an area you've never really done any isolation work for, any direct work for, be very easy on it the first couple times you do it. And then you can start gradually using more weight and trying to get that range of motion out so you're getting more of a stretch with your legs nice and wide apart like a bad girl. That's awful. I'm awful. So, yeah, you always want to do these nice and slow. What is Hector doing there? Hector was being creative with the zooming in and out, whatever the hell he was doing. Yeah. So here, I for these, I like to keep my reps 12 to 15. I think right around 15 is where I generally like to stay. And like I say, if you look in the mirror and be honest with yourself at your thigh development, you see that your inner thighs need work, I strongly urge you to start including adductor work. And another thing about doing them earlier in the workout like this, you won't forget to do them. You won't be so tired that you'll just bail on them. And you'll get a nice warm up. You'll get the hips stretched out. Because if you're going to be doing squats, leg presses, hacks, things like that, you want everything warmed up. You want blood in the entire lower body. You don't want to pull anything training legs, guys. It's no fun. Am I done with this finally? I think so. Okay, so I think there I'm complaining about how I got them developed to the point where they were always rubbing together, which nunca te des por vencido. Never give up. Yeah, walking past these dudes. There's Steve Kukla. Yeah. You see Steve? You saw him there for like 1/10 of a second. So now I'm heading over to a machine I had never used before that day. My gym has one now. It doesn't have this particular model. It's a Pendulum squat made by Arsenal Strength. There's a lot of different squat machines out there. They all have names to sort of designate how they're similar in style. This one, Pendulum squat, if you know what a pendulum is, you ever see like a grandfather clock, that thing goes back and forth? Or if you're an Edgar Allan Poe fan, he was a writer. You guys heard of him? Some of you have. He did a very famous horror short story called The Pit and the Pendulum. This guy was on the table, and this giant pendulum with a big blade on the bottom was coming down lower and lower every time it swung, and eventually it was going to cut him in half. I forget what happened in that story. But this one is very, very hard. You'll see it's an odd angle that you come down at. The platform is set sort of at a 45-degree angle to the floor. And you're coming down in what looks almost like a semicircle. I keep explaining it. The funny thing is that day they were using that machine at the grand opening that day. I keep going in and out of focus to have a contest to see who could win a free membership, a year membership. The men had, I think the women had a 25 on each side, and whoever could do the most reps with that. And the men had to do a 45 and a 25. Sounds like nothing, right? These machines are hard, especially the Arsenal machine. Very, very heavy, very heavy. Because most of you are used to using machines you can load up with plate, like tons of dinner plates. So here we go. Yeah, see, I always wanted to get I still train this way, full range of motion. Of course, right now I can't get quite that low. My flexion in my knee is not quite back to normal yet. I think I'm about a month away from getting a return to complete range of motion. But what was I doing there? One rep? I keep talking. So pendulum squat. So I explained in the video that this is not how I built my legs. So I encourage you guys to squat with a barbell unless you have some limitation, an injury in your lower back or knee, something that actually physically prevents you from squatting. Not just that you don't want to squat or you don't like squats. I would start with squats if I were you. When I shot this video, I was 50 years old. I'm 54 now. Wow. I had already basically stopped squatting for the most part. I would do it like once or twice a month and not heavy at all. I think the heaviest I was going was I even going 315 at that point? Probably not. I was probably going like 275 or something. In my heyday, I used to do work sets would be like 315, 365, 405, and then 455 or something. But that was my heyday. It's for you. Okay, so is this what I'm trying to go for the reps? 3. Nice full range of motion, nice deep descent. Don't bounce out of the bottom. Control the weight. I don't lock out the knees. So you never want to lock out your knees on any type of pressing movement for the quads. Because then all the weight, all the resistance shifts to the joints, the knee joints. Oh, did I go heavier? Oh, here I was looking at the leaderboard this is the guy that won the pendulum squat competition. Okay, so the men had to do 2 plates. Yeah, it was 2 plates, not 2 1/4. I had that wrong. Oh, the women only had to use the machine? Oh, man, the women had it easy. The guys had to do 245s on each side, and the women just had to do the machine. So as you can see, I think that was they were boyfriend and girlfriend. She did 65 reps. Of course, there was no weight on the machine. I'm not trying to downplay her achievement, but they could have put a little weight on there for the women, I think. They could have put a 25 on each side. Because you see, the strong dude got, what was it, say 30? He got like 32 reps, and she got 65. 65 reps. I mean, just the lung power to be able to do any kind of compound leg movement for 65 continuous reps is admirable. It's no joke. It's not easy doing all that. Those of you who've done high rep squats, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, low rep squats, they're very tough on the nervous system, and it's a lot of weight pushing down on your back for sure, but you don't have to have a lot of wind for it. If you guys have done 20 rep sets of squats with a weight that really challenges you to get those 20 reps, you know it's just as much a cardiovascular challenge as it is a weight training challenge, because you're like sucking air, like, you feel like you can't get enough oxygen toward the end there. I know that's true for me anyway. Another reason why I encourage people to do cardio year round, just so you have that wind for good leg workouts. Otherwise, you're going to be having a rough time doing anything more like than 10, 12, maybe 15 reps. If you ever want to go higher on reps and do things like supersets, you're going to be limited more by your lack of cardiovascular fitness than your muscular strength or endurance. Oh, do I only have one plate on there? Oh, okay. See, I'm all confused. You had to have one plate on each side for 2 plates. It wasn't 2 plates. 2 plates on this particular machine. The Arsenal machines, for those of you who use this particular line of equipment, very, very heavy, very humbling. Like their chest and back machines, you can go much heavier on a hammer strength machine that look kind of similar, but okay, so this must be my work set. I think I ended up with 22 reps or 23, something like that. Far short of the winning number that the guy earlier got. And, you know, there was no weight class or weight limits on that. It was just men and women. I mean, they had to keep it pretty simple because they were going all day with people trying to win memberships. See, here you can see it's starting to get really tough. And I find for legs, this whole concept about reps in reserve, the only time I would leave a couple reps in reserve is something like actual barbell squats or barbell front squats, because your form is probably going to break down if you go to complete failure. But if you stop a couple reps short of that, you'll still be keeping decent form. So there I'm sort of rating my performance. It was okay. It wasn't that great. You know, didn't get my full normal meals. I'm a creature of habit, especially like a leg or a back day, especially legs. I like to have a really solid pre-workout meal about 90 minutes before I start lifting weights on a leg day. That's pretty much my rule for everything. Yeah. Oh, I got to let you know, Xavier, this was 3 years ago. This is not now. This is almost 4 years ago. This isn't today. This was in Nashville, Tennessee in 2020. That's why it's an MD video. We're not shooting any more MD videos for the moment, unless somebody buys the company or something. So this was Carbon Culture grand opening. They would open up another one, I think later the next year, closer to Brandon's, where he lived in Murfreesboro. This was another neighborhood. Oh, okay. Looks like I was being adventurous here and going for another quarter. Wow. Yeah, it's funny. 2 years ago, if you guys know who the X-Man Tony Freeman was, we were talking about leg training one day, and he said when it came to things like hack squats, leg press, and squats, he didn't use 25s, called them quarters. He says you can't even make a phone call for a quarter anymore. So why would you use a 25? Tasmania. Who's in Tasmania? The Tasmanian Devil. All-Star until you say, what up, y'all? So here I go again. Oh, in general. Oh, thank you, Xavier. I don't want anyone. I just hope no one thinks this was today, because I haven't been able to train like this since last summer, since August. I tore the quad August 30th. I have resumed leg training, but it's light. It's certainly not. I can't get a full range of motion. I can't get that full depth on squat and leg press type of movements yet. More weight, you beast. Yeah. Did I put a 10 on there too? What am I doing? Oh no. Was that a 10? I'm putting a 25? I don't know. Why does 145 look bigger than the other? Okay, so we moved on to a leg press. Oh, yeah. Full range of motion. That's what I want to get back. So I started back on leg press. See, I always like to, in my heyday, when I was building my legs, I would do squats first, and then I would pick just one more compound movement and work really hard. It would either be leg press or hack squats. I usually didn't do both. I would usually just do 2 compound movements, work very hard on. It would usually take me about 3 warm-up sets and then 4 good working sets of squats. Leg press or hacks, I would do maybe 2 warm-up sets and usually, again, like 4 working sets. My reps would be higher on the leg press than anything else, just because high reps are so much easier. This is an Arsenal strength piece too. I think the whole gym was pretty much Arsenal strength. Big platform there. You can see it has an option to use that angled or beveled top part, so the angle is even more extreme. And that would be a lot more hams and glutes if you go there. I think I decided, like, right after this, I didn't like that. The feel of the leg press, I can't remember what my rationale was, why I bailed out on the leg press. But I decided I'm going to use this hack squat. I think I just wanted to use the hack squat. It looked really smooth. So I started transferring weights over. Yeah. So, guys, yeah, if you have questions about leg training and stuff, put them in the chat here because I'm going to get to all those. This was like a 40-minute leg workout that we're walking through. I won't make you watch the whole thing. So hacks. You can see when I did hacks, I always like to have my feet very close together and low on the platform. For me, that always targeted way more quads. And I'm actually pushing up. My whole foot is in contact, but I'm really pushing from the balls of my feet more so than the heels. For me, that was how I could activate almost entirely quads on that. It's a compound movement. You're never going to isolate the quads on a leg press or hack squat or a squat. It's impossible. The hamstrings and glutes are always going to be involved, but foot positions, and I wouldn't do this with other things, but certainly for hack squats and leg press, they do enable you to use a closer stance safely so that you're not going to, I would never advise doing a very, very close stance, like feet together like that on squats. It'd be very hard to keep your balance for one thing. You could probably do it on Smiths. You could do it on Smith machine squats. I would not want to do it on a regular one. The JMC trying to give around the views. Thank you. We're knowledge helps channel improve. Thank you. Appreciate that. Larry's two of my favorite channels are also watching. Let's see. Okay, do increase my muscular endurance. Cardio saw when it comes to legs, they tire quickly. The longer that you employ techniques that will increase your muscular endurance, which are higher reps, supersets, things like rest pause sets, doing things like that will increase your muscular endurance. Where are you breaking down? Are you having trouble like completing the workout, like you're getting tired, or you just get tired after a certain amount of reps? The solution, if you're getting really tired through the workouts, maybe try just real brief, high intensity style workouts. That might be the key for you. Showing off my tights again. Got my daily pump belt. Great leg training. We'll ask Dr. Okay, so Philip, what I'm trying to do is I have all the qualifications except one to monetize this channel, and that's when I can get sponsors again. When I can monetize it, I need like another 220 viewing hours before YouTube decides my channel is worthy of monetizing. So that's why I'm still making these videos and hoping to hit that number. The last I looked, I had, so in the last 365 days, you have to have 3,000 watch hours, a minimum. Last time I checked this morning, I had 2786. So I still need 814. I'm sorry, 214, not 800. So all you guys are all helping me right now. So when I have that going, I'm definitely going to bring back the Ask Dr. Testosterone show. He's very eager to get back doing that show. He loves doing the show and answering questions for the viewers. I thought it was a great show, and will be again. I mean, got the doctor's book still here, ready for him. The Bible of Bodybuilding, Dr. George Souliatos, still there. So yeah, that's coming back soon. I'd say at the latest, probably early January 2024. There's still a little. You can see I still need a little bit left to monetize the channel. So I think I'm telling you, this is as heavy as I went on this thing, 315. Hack squats named after George Hackenschmidt. Yeah, so the hack squat machine didn't come around until many, many years later. George Hackenschmidt did hack squats with a barbell behind him, holding onto the bar behind him. That's originally how hack squats were done. There were no hack squat machines, 120 years ago when this Hackenschmidt guy came up with them. So this is my last set of hack squats here. Can't really see what I'm doing because Hector was going for the close-up. See my big gut bulging out like a turtle shell. Beautiful. See if I turn purple here. Yeah. See Hector there in the red. Yep. Yeah. For legs, like I said, unless it was squats, I always tried to go to total failure. Here I didn't have a spotter, obviously, so if I got stuck at the bottom, I would have had to bail out. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to yell, help, help, see if somebody would come running to my rescue. It'd be even more embarrassing if nobody came running. They just let me sit there like a crushed bug. Okay, so his reps. Yeah, JMC, I would continue with the higher reps. I'd finish off legs with something like a 50 rep set of leg presses. Did I go 4? Did I really? Okay. Yeah. Things like that, they will shock the muscle. Your muscle has both fast twitch and slow twitch fibers in it. So that's why a mix of reps works really well. If you always do low reps or always do high reps, you're never going to really maximize your leg development, your quadricep development in particular. I do think you should incorporate both. So, and especially JMC, if you're having issues with muscular endurance, I think if you regularly start incorporating these really high reps, like 50 rep sets on a leg press, 20 rep sets of squats, your muscular endurance is going to pick up. Just a matter of the body has to acclimate and adapt, especially if you're not used to higher reps and your shorter rest periods. That's another thing. Toward the end, you might even want to try something like FST7 technique, where you do 7 sets, which is 30 seconds in between. It's a weight, you do like 10 to 12 reps. It's a weight that will be fairly easy, not challenging for the first couple sets. By the time you get to set 5, it's starting to feel pretty tough, and 6 is very tough, and 7, it's almost impossible to get 10, 12 reps. But you only rest 30 seconds between. The pump is going to be crazy. Nordstrom. I don't want to watch a Nordstrom commercial. Who's that? Here we go. Well, okay, so this must be my top set. 4 plates. Oh boy. I mean, the most I ever did on a hack with nobody helping was probably. I got many videos on this channel, old crappy pixelated videos from the 2006, 2008, and on all the way through 2013. I think was the last videos I uploaded on this channel before I just started up again. 6 plates. I did 6 plates many times. 7 plates on a really good day on each side. It doesn't look like I did many reps here either, huh? Is that like 4 or 5? I probably did like 8 at the most. I bet. Did I even get that many? It's hard to say. Ooh. Yeah, what was that? Like 7 reps? I didn't count. It wasn't a lot. So hacks, I never went too high. I think most of my hack squat sets over the years were 10 to 12 reps. Occasionally, especially when I was in my young, really dumb years, which went on for quite longer than they should have, I would do like 5, 6 rep sets. What am I doing with these 10? Oh, these are quarters. So now I'm doing Romanian deadlifts. Thank you, Philip. Yarabi, appreciate you guys helping out. I always skip leg day because too busy or too lazy. Why skip leg day? Leg day's fun. I find, not only because my legs grew well when I trained them hard, but I always liked leg day just because it was such a challenge. I love that challenge. Can I lift more weight? Can I do more reps? Can I go a little further past the pain barrier than I did before? Can I try this combination for a superset? It was never boring for me. Leg day was always something I look forward to. So here I'm demonstrating proper form on a Romanian deadlift. So traditional stiff leg deadlifts, you have your knees locked. Very few people do those anymore. Now most people do what's called the Romanian deadlift. It's a variation where you have a little bit of bend in the knees and you don't have to lower all the way to the floor. Taking off my wedding ring so the knurling on the bar does not destroy it. It's a nice ring. Don't want to ruin it. It's symbolic of my marriage and all that good stuff. And yes, our Stub C actually answered your question with the video. The reason I'm using 25s on these is so I can get a little lower stretch. 45-pound plates are wider. Obviously, they're larger in diameter, so they'll hit the ground typically before you get a full stretch. So I'm really doing my best to keep a flat lower back, actually, even with a little bit of an arch in my lower back. You never want to round your lower back. Rounding your lower back is a good way to hurt your lower back, to herniate a disc or strain your lumbar, your spinal erectors. You don't want to do that. Keep a little bit of an arch. I always say it's sort of like you're bowing down to someone, a low bow to someone standing right in front of you. Don't take your eyes off. Don't look at the ground, because then you will tend to round your back when you stare at the ground. Okay, so that was a pretty easy warm-up. And our stuff, cable pull-throughs, I haven't done those in a few years. I can't remember the last time I did them, because I do this movement now mostly with dumbbells. Sometimes I like a T-bar platform instead. What size is that ass? It's huge. But dunk. But I still have, okay, so now I have two. So it's only 50 pounds, which is a 45 and a 5, basically, in terms of weight. But good stretch. Again, you don't want to lower it fast. Now, this is 150 pounds in plates. Is that right? Yeah, so 115 plates in the bar. It's only 195. I say only because a lot of guys can do 315. I used to do 315 on these. I'll never do that again. Don't want to. Nice and smooth. It's odd that I don't deadlift at all for back. I haven't in many years. Like, I'm talking like over 20 years. Just because it's mechanically, my lower back doesn't like it. Anytime I start going heavy, my lower back just, something goes. Was that probably my last set? You can see my hair starting to go bald there, and that was 3 years ago. Philip says, congrats, really, Ryan, doing so much for the community. Thank you, man. I love hearing that. I know it's very humbling, because when people say things like legend, I don't consider myself a legend. Legend, what the hell is that? But I've been around the game a very long time. I've done my best to pass on the knowledge that I've gotten and things I've learned to other people, especially when it comes to mistakes that I've made. I don't want other people to have to waste time and get hurt, but mostly wasting time and effort, money, if it can be prevented, because I've made all the mistakes already. I've been training for 40 years. Everything stupid, pretty much I've done it. So when you hear an old head, as my son likes to call me, an old head like me talking about what not to do and what to do, it's easy to just say, shut up, old man, like I did when I was young. But really, it's in your best interest, guys. I'm not saying, I don't say those things to try to curtail your results. I'm trying to help you get better results. And more importantly, avoid wasting time, energy, time. If you can do things the right way, it's still going to take time to build a great physique or an exceptional physique, but it's going to take a lot less time if you do things right and avoid making dumbass mistakes, which I've made so many over the years. Mark Smacks, the barbell hack squat, AK reverse deadlift. I tried, I've done it a few times, not many. And that was hard. With the bar behind you, very, very difficult. That's why I was like, well, I'll just go on the hack machine. What am I doing here? So here I'm actually finishing up quads. So this is an Arsenal machine, very, very heavy leg extension, very heavy. Their leg curl, very heavy, meaning like if you're doing the full stack on an Arsenal strength leg extension or leg curl machine, you're one of the strongest people in terms of legs I've ever heard of, because that thing is freaking heavy. So most people do leg extensions in the beginning of the quad workout. I used to do that, and I started having knee pain because I was going very heavy. I'm very strong in that movement. I'm sure some of you guys are too. And that was not a good idea. It was a lot of strain on the quadricep tendon, the patella tendons. This is a single joint movement. It's not a compound movement. It's only the quads working. So everything's being loaded right at that knee joint. You don't have your hips involved at all. So if you're going super, super heavy, you're putting a lot of resistance, a lot of strain and stress on your knees. So that's why I would do them later in the workout and not quite as heavy. But at this point, my quads were pretty fried from everything you've seen me do up to this point. So I didn't need to go as heavy and can really focus on just squeezing them out, getting a really good finishing pump in the quads. Reps here, probably around 12 to 15. Sometimes I go to 20. I would never advise going like under 10 reps on the leg extension. Again, because of the anatomical, biomechanical position you're in for leg extension, you're at a really a high level of risk going very heavy on leg extension for knee injury, quad injury, something like that. And it's probably something that's not going to happen right away. It's going to weaken. It's going to sort of gradually weaken that tendon through tiny, tiny tears over years until one day you might be walking your dog branch and your quad just pops right off your damn leg. I did slip. It didn't just spontaneously rip. That would have been pretty disgusting. So the biggest fear is falling and having to yell for help. Sucks having no training partner. Yeah, I mean, I've been training. I'm with my wife now for some of the workouts, but I've done a lot of my workouts by myself over the years. And you have to be careful. Like I would never want to see somebody doing barbell bench presses, barbell incline presses, military presses without a spotter, something where if you get stuck, you're screwed. If you squat by yourself, always use a power rack, a cage. They call them a cage, where you can put the safety pins. You set them on either side of you on the rack at a height where you can dump the bar, probably right at the point. You would set them right at the level where you descend to. And that way, if you can't get out of the hole, as we call it, if you get stuck at the bottom rep, you just dump the weight there on the rack and you live to fight another day. Whereas otherwise, you're stuck there until, you got to figure out how to maybe you could try to dump it in back of you but I really encourage all of you, if you squat by yourself, no spotters, try to squat. If your gym hopefully has a cage, a power cage, somewhere where you can set up safety pins and rack it because nobody wants to get stuck. Let's see. Now what am I doing? Is it over? No, it's not over yet. Why am I stretching now? Oh, so I'm done with quads. So I'm going to stretch out my quads. I didn't even do the lying leg curl in this workout, did I? So I had a little stretching routine. I believe in stretching the muscle when it's fully pumped. And I didn't come up with that idea. I got that from John Perillo in Ohio. Dante believes the same thing, but Dante has you do it most of the stretches under load. Quads, I don't think he has you under load. So here I'm stretching the hips, the glutes. Now what do I do? So I have a little stretching routine that I was always employed after legs. I guess I'm stretching everything out. And I didn't train calves this day, did I? No, I guess not. I encourage you all to train calves, though. Don't skip calves, guys. So now stretching the hamstrings. Still feeling the glutes, too. Yeah, my hair was already starting to go there, huh? For sure. Now I think I'm just doing the same thing on the other leg. Yeah, those tights, I ended up having to throw them away. It's too bad. They were my favorite tights. You can't say tights, you say leggings, right? A lot of guys will wear shorts over them. To me, maybe it's because I'm old and I remember in like the 80s and 90s, you could walk around in tights, leggings. No big deal. Everybody wore them. So for me, I feel sillier if I wear shorts over the tights. To me, that looks silly because I'm old. I believe if you're going to wear the leggings, just wear the leggings. And I would never wear them unless it was leg day. But I like them. These are compression tights. They give you good support, help keep the muscles warm. And, you can really see the shape of your legs as you're training them. When you get a pump, they look great. Okay, so what am I stretching here? Going forward, this is a glute stretch where I have my leg folded under me. Stretching, very important, guys. And I believe the best time to stretch is after the workout, right after the workout, when everything's pumped and there's plenty of blood flowing. Not at the start of the workout when you're still pretty cold. I think maybe you won't get hurt, but a cold muscle is not supposed to be stretched. It's just dangerous. So warm. We talk about it in terms of, what am I stretching here now? The hips, getting that lower back. I like to feel that little crack in the lower back when I do that on one side, and I do the other side. Yeah. See how it's worn out there? That was from the thighs rubbing together over the years. But yeah, man, I need to get my legs back. My left leg's like 70% of normal size. The right leg is probably only like 50% at this point, the quad. So, boy, Hector's getting crazy here with the creativity, spinning around. You spin me around. Now what am I doing? Oh, now I'm doing the reverse, which I'd be like too lazy to do normally. So this stretching routine, it's about 5 minutes long. It doesn't take you long, but it's my belly. It's a good investment, man. I mean, I really think it helps with the growth of the muscle because you're breaking up the fascia tissue, something that Perillo believed in, Dante Trudel believed in. And it's one of the core principles of Hani Rambod's FST7. It stands for fascial stretch training. You know, the fascia is a connective tissue that surrounds all our skeletal muscle tissue. It's very strong. It's stronger on the molecular level than steel. So it's kind of like steel belting around your, on tires, around your muscles. If you can help stretch it out, break it up a little bit. Oh, cool. Am I doing more hamstring stretches? Now it's like a groin stretch, an inner thigh stretch, which you could also just sort of like squat down and kneel and press out with your elbows on the insides of your knees. You could do that. It would give you the same effect. I don't think this is more stretching than I would normally do. Yeah, we're going to get to you in a second, guys. So I think that, oh, no, I did both. Yeah, so here I'm showing you that. That was the end, right? That was it. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks for joining me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So if you want to see that full video it was called Big Leg Workout with Ron Harris. It's on the MD YouTube channel, which is still up and running. I don't know for how much longer. I don't know if anyone's buying MD or the YouTube channel. I keep hearing all these crazy rumors, but nothing's happened so far. Let's stop that screen. Let's get back to question time. Hug a dog. I like that name. Hi, guys. Good tip to always start leg or hits hamstrings. Do the same. I also like to include low leverage bodyweight sissy squats between any heavy quad movement. Yeah, one of my favorite supersets to do is leg extensions, and I come right off the leg extension. I go right into just bodyweight squats. Call them air squats. But if you do them right away, the quads are temporarily fatigued from the leg extensions. And especially if you're doing these toward the end of the leg workout where you've already done plenty of hard and heavy work on the quads, your body weight should be fine. If you need to hold a plate, go ahead, but you probably won't. So I would just do those. I would come up off a set of like 15 reps on leg extension, get into a squat position, and go down and up 20 times with, like a piston. No pausing, just keep it constant motion. And man, the pump and the burn in those quads is crazy. I love it. So he does those to prime my quad tendons, no more knee pain or dystender. Yeah, the person that I recall speaking the most about that in terms of training hamstrings first to prime your quads, because you're still bringing blood into the area and your hamstrings are that opposing muscle group, like you got your bicep and your tricep are opposing antagonistic muscle groups on your upper arm, and the quads are the same and hams are the same on your lower body. When your quads are contracting, your hams are stretching. When your hams are contracting, your quads are stretching. So it's a really good way to help warm your quads. So it was John Meadows, the late John Meadows was the person that I recall, the first one, and the one I heard the most about training hamstrings before quads as being helpful and improving the quality of your quadricep workout, which I know a lot of people are reticent. They don't want to train hams before quads because they're like, well, that's going to take away a lot of my energy. I want to be strong. I want to have a really good workout with my squats, my hacks, my leg presses, and all that. And they worry that if they do hamstrings first, it's going to impede that. But it's not true. It's really not true at all. You lose very, very little, if any, quadricep strength. In fact, I think a lot of people would say when they've tried it both ways, they actually have better quad workouts if they do hams first. As crazy as that sounds, but that whole thing about priming the quad tendons, like Hug a Dog says. Ron takes off the rail. No, not quite. Not quite. But, it's funny that women do want men who are taken. It's like a challenge. Well, they've been pre-selected. They say, well, somebody already likes this guy enough to marry him or whatever. Or, a guy that's got a lot of girls hanging around him, like a lot of girlfriends or friends with benefit, whatever. They have more girls because they see oh boy, women like this guy. Anyway, what are we talking about here, guys? Nigel Christian Lomax, what is the advantage doing Romanian versus stiff leg? For me, I find it a lot easier to keep or to avoid rounding my lower back. So, am I going to demonstrate? I am going to demonstrate. Oh boy. So if I'm doing, this is completely locked knees, completely locked. Okay. It's hard. With my legs completely locked out. it's hard for me to go down without rounding my back, and I'm trying. So, but if I put a little bend in my knees now, like a Romanian deadlift, a little bend, now I can do it. I can stick my butt out in the back of me and get a really good hamstring stretch. Again, if they're locked out like this, especially with my lower back not being 100%. Yeah. I prefer Romanian. I think most people do. I don't see too many people doing them with the stiff legs anymore. Not to say that it's a useless exercise or anything. I just think people have. Oh, here's a good one, Philip Yarabi. Do you ever have back pain from leg day? Actually, that's probably my back. It's a leg day. I'm probably not doing the exercise correctly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Squats in particular, stiff leg deadlifts, anything where you have a weight either on your back or you're holding in front of you where your lower back is in that position where it can be strained, you have to be very, very careful to keep that slight arch in the lower back, because if it rounds, it's danger, danger, Will Robinson, as they used to say on the show Lost in Space. That was a robot that said that. So, yeah, for sure, squats. I mean, I would use a really good belt. Invest in like a powerlifting belt for squats. They're much wider. You know, the standard belts that people wear in the gym, where they're like 6-inch belts, they're not very big and they're not very thick. They don't give you a ton of support. They're better than nothing for sure. But powerlifters would never use those. Powerlifters use belts they're like this wide and they're this much leather. They weigh a ton, but they give you far, far more support for your lower back. They make it a lot harder to hurt your lower back. But absolutely, Philip. Yeah, squats can be if you ever have a lower back injury, you definitely shouldn't be going heavy on squats. But, I've had lower back problems on and off most of my life. My first back injury was in 1987. I just turned 18. So I know all about lower back. And I've had flare-ups and injuries hundreds, thousands of times since then, I'm sure. So if that's the case, there were many times in my training career where I couldn't squat because my lower back was so screwed up. I remember a really bad injury one day was it when I was doing the stupid weight? There was a phase where I was doing like half reps with 6 and 7 plates like every week. What an idiot. I was, like I said in the beginning, I was a moron. And that's why I'm trying to help you guys avoid making dumb mistakes like I did. And that much weight just pressing down on my spine, it was just too much. And my lower back muscles went, I think I herniated a disc. So, yeah, let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep it going. Just joined the live. Did you primarily do hamstring curls or overrides? Yeah. Yeah, so just what I was talking about. The RDLs, if it's too much stress on your lower back with a bar, like I don't do them with a bar. I haven't done them with a bar in years. I use dumbbells because I find with the weight in front of me, here I go again. If the weight's in front of me, okay, if the weight's in front, it can pull and make my lower back round. But if it's at my sides with dumbbells, I have a much easier time keeping that lower back rounded and avoiding, arched and avoiding rounding the lower back. So that guy 6, give dumbbells a try. Start real light, but I think you'll find you get a much safer, it's just a lot less stress on the lower back. You'll be able to get the stretch in your hamstrings. Start light, start with like a pair of 15s or 20s. I remember training with Hide Yamagishi at my gym. He was in my area to do some supplement store appearances. It was the Monday after the Olympia. It was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And we trained legs and we did dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts. And I thought I was a big shot because I could go up to like 100, a pair of hundreds on those. He did 150s. He did. And I think he had just competed. So he was super lean and everything. Yeah. This training footage was right before COVID lockdown. I remember seeing this like it was yesterday. Yeah. You know what's funny, that guy 6 is the next year? So I think it was like late summer 2021. They did another grand opening for their second gym, second Carbon Culture. And 2021 was still, everybody had masks on. In this place, nobody had masks on. It was like a virus farm in there, but I didn't get COVID. I don't know how many people did or didn't, but everybody was training in close quarters at this place. No masks. think we were wiping down equipment, but yeah, so that was the second grand opening. Lunsford came to that one. De La Rosa, Breon Ansley was there. Jose Raymond came down with Nate Tello. Antoine Vallant was there. Juju Mufu was there. Big wrestler, John, what was his name? Big pro wrestler. I didn't know who he was really. Bald, beard. I think he ended up like last year or 2 years ago doing a men's physique show. The hell was his name? But anyway, it was a cool time. I mean, they had food. They had plenty of free protein bars and coffee and all that good stuff. That guy says, thoughts on a free weight heavy belt squat, not the machine. Sputnik lifting belt with a loafing squatting simply total 315 for reps. Not the machine. I like the belt squat machine. My favorite is that one called Pit Shark, which not every gym has. Nate has one at the Gym Hub Boston gym. And I've seen it in a few other places. Belt squats I like a lot because the belt's around. So the resistance is distributed around your hips. It's not like a bar come down your back. A lot of you, maybe not at this point in your life, but eventually you might come to the point, if you lose enough shoulder mobility, you won't even be able to hold a bar behind you for squats anymore. I hate to break it to you, but this is how much. This is as far back as this arm goes. That's it. It's I can hold a bar, but it's very difficult. This arm goes a little further back, not much. But the belt squat, don't have to worry about it. Hook that belt around there. I like that machine quite a bit. So I think you just wanted to know what I thought about belt squat. Great training tool. If your gym has one, I would definitely at least try it. Go Cool Luffy. The arm looking to be a fantastic show. Looks good. Bible is doing it. Yeah, I don't think the list is out yet, but we're already hearing about some names going. I hope Nextzilla does it because everyone's crazy about Nextzilla and wants to see him again soon on stage. I know Samson Dowd is the heavy favorite going in. He would be the repeat champion, and he's also doing the Arnold UK a week or two after that. Do you think you can build decent legs using low weights? No. The reason I say that is because a muscle is only going to keep growing if it's forced to, basically, if it's loaded enough. It needs to be, they've done many studies on strength training and muscle gains. And, there's only a few universal truths. And one of them that they found was you had to use at least 60% of your 1 rep maximum or something like that. Or it did have to be 30%. It's a percentage. I wish I knew off the top of my head, but very like lighter weights, it's just too easy. It's like calisthenics. It's like, think about it this way, push-ups. When you first start doing push-ups, let's say you're a 200-pound guy. No, let's back it up. Let's say you're a 150-pound guy. You don't have any weights or anything. You start doing push-ups. At first, maybe you can only do 5, 10. A few months later, you might be able to do 50. Maybe you can do 100 push-ups at once. Your chest is going to be a little bit bigger, but you still have the same amount of resistance. Your body isn't getting much heavier. Whereas if you lay down under a bench press, okay, you're a 150-pound guy, you could start out with a bar to begin with, and then maybe a few months later, you got 100 pounds, 135. Eventually, you're pushing up 225, maybe 315. It's a lot more resistance than your body weight, and that forces the chest to get thicker and thicker and thicker. The muscle fibers break down and rebuild and all that good stuff, and that only happens when they're challenged, when they're loaded with a heavier resistance. It's a struggle for you. And your own body weight, it's just not enough. And legs, low weights, it's not going to cut it. If you're someone who's not trying to get bigger, it's not a good idea. That's why for the legs, I have gone low reps on things like squats, but for the most part, squats, I'd say the majority of all the sets I ever did for squats were in the 8 to 12 range. Leg press, I always went higher. 10 to 20 was an average. Hack squats was usually 10 to 12, but it was weight that was really challenging me at the time. Low weights, heavy weights and lightweight is a very relative term. What's light to one person might be heavy to another and vice versa. But you do need to challenge yourself. So when we say 12 reps, 10 to 12 reps, it means the weight should be so heavy that you can't get more than 12. You try, but it's so heavy you can't budge it after 12. If you can, then you put a little bit more weight on next time, and now you're back down to 8 or 9 reps, and you get up to the point where you can do that for 12, and you add a little more progressive resistance. And as you do that, the muscle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you stay with low reps and just keep low weight and just keep upping the reps, you're never going to work those fast twitch muscle fibers, which are the ones that are responsible for the thick, dense muscle size that we see on bodybuilders. That guy 6 says, people who say doing hamstrings first for quads affect their quad workouts, like saying train biceps before triceps will somehow negatively triceps. Well, I think the point that they're trying to make, or that they feel is valid, is you have a finite amount of energy for your workout. You're not going to be as energetic and have as much to give 40 minutes into a workout as you did at the beginning of the workout. You have a certain amount of energy, whatever that is, for that to devote to that workout. Maybe you took your pre-workout and you're all jacked up, but after 30, 40 minutes, your energy levels will start to go down. So I get it. I get what they're saying, but I still think in the case of these antagonistic muscle groups, it doesn't affect them at all. It doesn't hurt them at all. And in fact, I think it helps. A lot of people feel their best arm days or their best arm routines were when they would trade off doing a bicep exercise, not necessarily superset, though people do that too, but they do one bicep movement and then a tricep movement and then a bicep movement and so on. So back and forth, alternate like that, keeps the pump while one muscle's pumped, and then you go and stretch it by doing contractions for the opposing muscle group. I think it works very well. But yeah, like I said, hams first, guys. It works very well. Says that's true. Much better quads workout after hamstrings. I switched those after 30 years of starting quads. One thing I regret is I didn't know any better much earlier. Yeah, hug a dog. If we knew now what we knew then, but that you could say about everything in life, right? How many of you guys have those dreams where you're back in high school, but you know everything you know now? Well, those are cool dreams. And I'm jacked in those dreams. And I'm not balding. I don't wear glasses. It's great. I'm a stallion. Oh, my dream life. What's up, OBX Pescado? Pescado is a fish. Yep. Philip again. Have you ever used Deca and Anglon? I've used Deca many times. Many times. But I didn't. To cure lower back pain, it's not going to do that for you. It's not going to do that for you. Deca helps. It helps you because you retain a little more fluid, so the joints are a little better lubricated. But it doesn't help lower back pain. Doesn't heal lower back pain. For that, you really have to, strengthen the lower back would be the one thing. Start training your lower back when you can, when it's not hurting, so it's stronger. Train your abs. When your core is strong, your chances of having a lower back injury and lower back pain are much, much less. It's a weak core, which is, your abdominals, your obliques, your lumbar, that whole middle section there is your core. When you have a strong core, you're far less likely to get hurt and have lower back injuries and pain. But, I would suggest seeing a chiropractor, a deep tissue, massage therapist. Don't look to any particular drug or peptide or anything to heal pain. There are things for healing. I think all steroids in general do help a little bit with healing. I do believe that. Growth hormone helps with overall healing of everything. This peptide that I've been using since I tore my quad, BPC 157, has a good reputation for assisting in healing injuries. A lot of people use this TB 500, another peptide I've never used, but that one you inject locally. So if you have lower back pain, you would jam that sucker right in your lower back every morning. So yeah, Deca, wonderful drug. Obviously, it's been used successfully for about 60 years or more. Test and Deca is like peanut butter and jelly. It's by far the most common, most effective for so many people steroid stack in history of training. Test and Deca. You know how many guys have gotten huge and strong on Test and Deca? Millions. Of course, you can get fancy and add in other things, and you can have these really well-crafted scientific stacks. But so many guys, they throw in a little D-ball in the first few weeks. Test Deca D-ball. If you can't get big and strong on that, then man, find something else to do, because you're not meant to do this. If you could only do 8 exercises for the rest of your life, did you get that from that? Is it Chris Williamson podcast? Well, see, my double M, I'm going to answer this as if I were young and had no injuries or limitations, because at the situation I'm in is not what most of you guys, and most of you guys are not as banged up. I need both shoulders replaced. I just had my quad. I just tore my quad. I've torn a tricep. So my shoulders, a lot of pain in my shoulders. My lower back's not great. So let's say you have none of those issues. You're a young, healthy guy. We've got 8 exercises. Let's do this. Squats, deadlifts, bench press, barbell row, military press, chin up, dip, barbell curl. Oh, we didn't get to do anything for triceps. We didn't get to do any extensions. Oh, well. But those are the basics. Those are the basics. They work so well. So I think we would have made it 9, thrown in skull crushers, and we would have been all set, basically. Yeah, those are the basics. For me, it doesn't matter because I'm going to start rattling off like weird machines because I can't use a lot of the things I do now are substitutes for the basic movements, compound movements that I used to be able to do, pain-free, nice and heavy for years and years. But I'm not in that situation anymore. I'm just glad I can still train hard. I'm not complaining. I'm not crying about it. I can't squat heavy anymore. Oh, well, I did it for many years. Can't deadlift. Oh, well, I still have a pretty damn good back. Can't do shoulder presses very heavy anymore. Shoulders aren't what they used to be, but they're still pretty decent compared, considering they both need to be replaced. And they've been bone on bone for like 12 years. This one went before this one. Now this one's gone. Yeah, and when the cartilage is between your bones. It's like a cushion. And once that cartilage is completely worn out, which will happen to some of you guys, it happened to me, then you have bone on bone, grinding, and that's arthritis, and that's osteoarthritis. And eventually it gets to the point where you just need a replacement joint, and that's where I'm at. Philip, again, what else you work on leg day? Okay, shoulders. Oh, I wouldn't do anything else on leg day. Yeah, so if you're only going, Philip, to the gym 3 times a week, I would do push-pull legs 3 different days. So I would do a push day where you did chest, shoulders, triceps. Pull day would be back, biceps, rear delts, traps, and then leg day. I think leg day, if you're hitting legs hard and heavy, you're doing a full workout, quads, hams, calves, adductors, glutes, all that good stuff, you shouldn't really have any time or energy left to do anything else. No workout should take you more than 90 minutes. Leg day is probably going to take you the longest out of everything. Back day takes a while, but leg day is probably the longest training day for just about all of us. It takes me, now it doesn't take me as long as I'm not doing as much, but in my heyday, in my younger years, 90 minutes. And if I was working with a couple people, it would take like 2 hours easily. This is for the, this is the Arnold. You just asked me to rank them. So Nexzilla, Andrew Jack, Samson, who do I think is better than who? Their rank? Okay, well, that's pretty easy. I just go by where they've placed so far. Samson, Andrew, Krizo, Nexzilla. There you go. We're done. I mean, Samson's the Arnold champ. He just beat Krizo and he beat Nexzilla. Andrew, Samson's beat him in the last couple shows they faced off, the Arnold and Olympia. So I would put Samson in first, Andrew's after him, then Krizo, then Nexzilla. That could change over time, of course. Double M, what are your thoughts on training frequency, going all out once a week per body part versus twice a week? In my younger years, for many years, I did the bro split. I did 4 training days a week, and that's what I would do, go all out. So like Monday might be chest and triceps. I would go all out, blast the shit out of them. Tuesday would be, let's say, back. Wednesday would be off. Thursday, I'd probably do shoulders and biceps. Friday would be legs, and then I had Saturday and Sunday off. So I was only doing 4 days a week for most of that. I was natural for a lot of that time too, but that's beside the point. I still think you should try it both ways, meaning try that style, try training everything once a week for a few months, then switch to twice a week. If you're doing it twice a week, I wouldn't do as much. I would reduce the volume 30, 40%, somewhere in that range, just because you're going to hit it again on the 4th. Geez, if you're training everything twice a week, wow. Yeah, so that would be like, you could do push-pull legs, take 1 day off. You'd have to start on a Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you could do push-pull legs, take Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, push-pull legs again. But then you roll right into Sunday again. You have to start all over. So it's tough training 2 days. If you want to train body parts twice a week, like Lee Haney did, like Arnold did, a lot of them would break it up. So they would do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They would be in the gym twice a day. They would do like chest in the morning and come back and do shoulders and triceps at night, back in the morning the next day, biceps and rear delts at night. They would do it like that. But I would say try it both ways, because people have gotten great results doing it both ways. And I think you might find that one of those methods or frequencies works much better for you, be it because of your own temperament, metabolism, activity level, lifestyle, age, whatever. You'll probably find that either training a body part once a week works better for you, or twice a week. And until you try, you'll never know. The way I do it now, back to push-pull legs off, the way I do it now is everything gets trained twice every 8 days, because I want that day off between the sequence, the 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, which is why it's trying to follow along to the week to try to do the same thing the same day every week. It's kind of you're really limited by that. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. Next one. Hug a dog. I want to show you the branch shirt again. Look at that. My daughter got me that for my birthday. That's my pup. That's my pit lab. Half pit bull, half Labrador. I love him so much. But I have the door closed so he doesn't come in here and bother me when I'm doing the videos. Take on unilateral leg exercise, unilateral leg press, squat extensions, lunges versus bilateral moves. I think they're a really good idea, especially because most of us have a dominant side that tends to take more of the workload and stress away that we're not even aware of. So you could leg press for years, never realize that one leg was doing more of the work. And, it might be getting bigger than the other leg. But then if you switch to, like Hammer Strength makes one with dual platform pedals, whatever you want to call them. So you're pushing individually with each leg, or you can train them one at a time, or you can just alternate legs, whatever you want to do. That is a much more accurate way to know that both legs are equal in strength. So if you have 4 plates on one side, 4 plates on the other, you'll do 15 reps with your right leg, rest a minute, and then do 15 reps with the left leg. But if you can only do, say, 10 reps with one leg versus 15 with the other leg with the same weight, now you have an imbalance and you can work on it. You can take it a little easier on that dominant leg and work a little harder on the weaker leg until they match. No, I don't have the money. So it's never been for sale, Scott, and I don't know. I don't have the inside info on this. I haven't talked to Steve at all, but the rumors I've been hearing were that the asking price was in the 7 figures. I don't have 7 figures. I don't even have 6 figures now unless I borrowed it or borrowed against my retirement or something to buy it. But no, I never considered buying it. It was never for sale. It still isn't really for sale. I keep hearing rumors that there have been some offers, but nothing's substantiated. I'm not going to report on things I have no actual knowledge of or proof of. Mike Hammer, that was a great. That was Stacy Keach, the TV show, right? Where he was a private detective. Wasn't that Mike Hammer? I hear you're around. I'm 55 and training over 30 years. Just pulled my right calf. Can't believe how much calf pull affects all my other training. Until you pull anything, until you tear any muscle or injure any muscle, you'll never realize how tied into everything that one muscle was. Like if you hurt your lower back, you're like, okay, well, I can still do. You realize, wow, there's a lot of things now I can't do that I didn't even realize my lower back was helping me with. If your shoulder's messed up, if you have really bad shoulder injury, let's say you like tear a rotator or a labrum or something like that, it's not just shoulder training. Now you can't do chest. You probably have a rough time doing back. You might still be able to do like biceps on like a preacher machine or something. But yeah, I had a calf tear years and years ago when I was still living out in California, and it wasn't a full tear. And I think it was a soleus, but man, that hurt. It hurt a lot. And I didn't train legs for a little while. I think Nixilla's next Ronnie Coleman. No, I don't. Just structurally, he doesn't have as good of a structure as those guys. He's a fantastic bodybuilder. Don't get me wrong, guys. I think he's impressive. He's freaky as hell. It's great for the sport. It's exciting to have fresh new talent like Rubiel Nexzilla. But structurally, he's kind of got a wide waist. The neck and the traps take away from his shoulder width. That's why I tell people, don't go crazy building up your traps unless you have really wide shoulders. And he doesn't have super wide clavicles. If you have more narrow clavicles, you can still have shoulders. But if you build up big traps, the example I give all the time is, for those of you who remember the late Chris Benoit, he was a pro wrestler in the WWE. Chris had tremendous neck and trap development. This guy had a neck like Nexzilla almost. Half the rest of his body wasn't anywhere near that big. huge traps, and he did not have very wide shoulders. And the overall appearance, he looked very narrow because you just saw this massive neck and traps, and then these shoulders that were kind of like just there on the side a little bit. Yeah. So Rubiel, very good, but I would never, no, he is not the next Ronnie Coleman. If he was the next Ronnie Coleman, I would say it right now. I'd have no problem. I don't know if there's going to be ever another Ronnie Coleman. I mean, in my lifetime, maybe some of you younger people might get to hang out with him, get to see who that is. Yeah. Anything else? Did we cover everything? It's been an hour and 10 minutes. My goodness. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Unless we get another question while I'm here. But that's it. So I hope you learned something, got some tips, save yourself from making some dopey mistakes that I made. So again, you always want to warm up for legs, warm up on a piece of cardio machine, a piece of cardio equipment for a good 5-10 minutes. I would go closer to 10, get the blood flowing, get your heart rate going. I would not do heavy leg extensions first. I would do those later on in the workout. For hamstrings, I would always do 2 types of leg curls, even though I didn't do it in this video. A lying leg curl is a must, and then either a standing or seating. I like to do 2 compound leg movements. So some type of squat movement, and then either a leg press or hack squat what worked well for me for many years. Calves, don't skip calves. You can do them at the end. If your calves are a really weak point, I would do them. You can do them first on leg day, or you can do them last, but then I would do them on another day after another training day or before another training day. A few sets of calves is not going to take away from your chest workout, but I think waiting a whole week to train calves is too much. I wouldn't want a whole week to go by, because calves you walk on all day, very, very dense muscle tissue, and they can take a lot of work and frequency. So I would not expect great results training calves once a week, no matter how great the workout is. I would want to hit those twice a week. A standing calf raise, something where your legs are locked. So either a standing calf raise, calves on the leg press machine, where we call them toe presses, and then some seated calf raise. A seated calf raise as well to work the soleus, because your calf has 2 muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus. So you want to make sure you train both of those. And then stretch out, really good. Take your time and stretch out after the workout. And then, pound down some good food, or slug a big whey protein shake with some sugary stuff like kids cereal, or what did I used to eat? Jelly beans, gummy worms, crap like that. The only time you ever, as a bodybuilder, want pure sugar, super fast acting sugar, is right after a workout with some whey protein isolate. Gets everything right back into the system, the aminos, the glycogen, all that good stuff. So appreciate you guys watching. The channel is growing back. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you like these, please hit the like thing, the thumbs up. Doesn't cost you nothing, helps me out. Leave some comments below, helps the algebra rhythm. And of course, put your notifications on so you know when we're going live. Appreciate you guys joining me on this new channel that's been around since 2006, but it's been inactive for many, many years. Had to bring it back now that I'm not with MD anymore. There is no more MD. Rest in peace, MD. And that's it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, or if you're on the other side of the world, enjoy your day today, your Monday. That's it for Ron Harris. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.